Why did Ron get a bright red envelope? Instead of finding paper in it, he gets his mum's voice instead. Lockhart thinks that since then, Harry's been craving the limelight, and he and Ron flew the car in order to get that. Hey guys! I am Charlotte the Starlet. These are my girls, Angel and Glitter, and this is my little boy Seth. Right, today we're going to be reacting to Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. Now, since I am a mystery/thriller writer, I don't just react, I review. And the way I do it is simple. If I like something, I add a point, starting from last video's total. And if I don't, I take one off. But before we jump in, I feel the need to explain something to you guys. I know I haven't been uploading as much recently, which I feel terrible about, genuinely. But the main reason for it is because I had to go back into hospital recently. I literally came out just a few days ago. I spilled a drink, and as if that wasn't embarrassing enough, I then slipped in the puddle I created, which then triggered my sickle cell and caused a sickle cell crisis. And as if that wasn't bad enough, while I was in the hospital, I caught an infection. So to all of you who've stuck around, thank you so much. It's starlets like you that are the reason I do what I do. Anyway, now that's out of the way, let's jump in. Snape confronts them about not getting on the train, but he assumes that it's because the Hogwarts Express wasn't good enough. Snape takes out a copy of the Evening Prophet and shows it to Harry and Ron. And right there on the front page was a massive headline that says, "Flying Ford Anglia mystifies Muggles." Oh my days, it's so obvious that McGonagall is fuming. All she said is, "Sit and explain." Dumbledore's kind of letting them off the hook, but he says although he's not expelling them this time, he will be writing to their families, and if they do anything like this again, then they will be expelled. Oh my days. We are at chapter 6, which is called Gilderoy Lockhart. Oh, this is gonna be good. Okay, so the book starts off describing like breakfast that day, and it says that the 4 like house tables were laden with tureens of porridge, plates of kippers, mountains of toast, and dishes of egg and bacon. What are kippers though? Literally never heard of them in my life. Oh wow. Hermione is starting the day off by reading one of Lockhart's books, Voyages with Vampires. She's literally got it propped up against the milk jug on the table. Stan behavior. I say as a stan of many things. Michael Jackson for a start. Harry Potter for a start. Beyonce for a start. Oh my god. I have no room to say a thing. Looks like they got some letters. Why did Ron get a bright red envelope? Surely there cannot be anything good inside of that. Oh no. No. Ron and Neville's reactions are just making it even worse for me. Like, the appearance of the letter is scary enough, but it says that Ron and Neville are looking at it like it's about to explode. Meanwhile, Harry doesn't see anything wrong with it. Like, to him it just looks completely normal. So Harry asks what's up, and Ron says, she sent me a howler. Who's she? Ooh, oh my gosh. Literally everything they're saying is just making this worse for me. Neville tells Ron that he better open it now, and then he tells him about a time that he got sent a howler from his nan, but he ignored it, which apparently only made things worse. He doesn't say what happened, but he does say that it was horrible. This really doesn't bode well. What do you mean it will be over in a few minutes? No way. So, when Ron does open the letter, instead of finding paper in it, he gets his mum's voice instead. Except that it's not just her normal voice. No. Her yells are amplified by about 100 times. And it says a roar of sound filled the whole hall, shaking dust from the ceiling. That's how loud she's screaming. Buzz. Okay, Mrs. Weasley actually says, stealing the car? I wouldn't have been surprised if they'd expelled you. You wait till I get a hold of you. I don't suppose you even stopped to think what your father and I went through when we saw it had gone. Wow. Gosh, of course. So, at hearing all of that noise, everyone else in the hall turns around to look where it's coming from. I'd hate that. As if getting the howler wasn't embarrassing enough. Having all of that attention drawn to you would just be awful. Oh my gosh! So, Mr. and Mrs. Weasley also got a letter from Dumbledore as well, apparently. And in the howler, Mrs. Weasley said that she thought Mr. Weasley was gonna die of shame when they got it. And then she's like, we didn't bring you up to behave like this. You and Harry could have died. Oh no! Oh my days. Mr. Weasley's facing an inquiry at work now because of Ron's actions. Wow. Mrs. Weasley ain't holding back. She says your father's facing an inquiry at work and it's all your fault. Damn. Packing on the guilt hard. Finally. Eventually, it ends. And after Mrs. Weasley's little tirade, the letter bursts into flames and ashes. Oh, wow. Hermione. Seriously? As if that wasn't bad enough, Hermione then decides to tell Ron that he deserved that. Like, can she not tell they already feel awful? Plus, it's not like they had much other choice. You know, for some reason, they weren't able to get onto the train. The platform literally said no to them, despite that they were on time. So, do you not think it was better of them to find some way to Hogwarts instead of just not turning up at all? Because I'm pretty sure that if they had, they'd get in just as much trouble, if not more. So, think about that, Hermione. Gosh, I'm sorry, I have to run about this for a while. Lord knows that if Hermione had been with them when they couldn't get on the platform, or if this had happened to her instead, she would be there crying and complaining about it, and about how it's not fair or anything. Like, even though I do think she may have been able to find some clever way around it because she's so smart, I still think she would have struggled, and she also would have panicked, especially because she doesn't really fly much. She doesn't use brooms. You know, she's not good with brooms. Anyway, yeah, it literally says that Harry's insides were burning with guilt. So, low blow, Hermione. But P.S., just a little side note, that's a very nice description. I like that. Burning with guilt, yes. I think I like that so much to date because I am currently struggling with finding descriptions like this in my writing right now. I'm not saying I'm gonna steal that. I'm just saying I might take a little inspiration from it. Okay, finally, moving on. McGonagall gives the Gryffindors their timetables, and the first lesson is a double herbology lesson with us Hufflepuffs. Huh? Say what? Okay, interesting. So, we all know that Professor Sprout is the herbology teacher, right? So, why is Lockhart with her? Wow, interesting. So, I'm about to use some big words. Like, I'm taking y'all back to GCSE English for this section, even though I was just like, English. No, but anyway, the juxtaposition between Professor Sprout and Lockhart, who I refuse to acknowledge as a professor. But yeah, the juxtaposition between those two is interesting. Like, it says so much. And I'm not trying to be pretentious, but for anyone who doesn't know, juxtaposition basically means the contrast between two things, essentially. Like, Professor Sprout's description says that she was a squat little witch who wore a patched hat over her flyaway hair. There was also a large amount of earth on her clothes, and her fingernails would have made Aunt Petunia faint. Meanwhile, Lockhart was immaculate in his appearance. He's wearing sweeping robes of turquoise, and his golden hair was shining under a perfectly positioned turquoise hat with gold trimming. This guy. Oh, snap. Sprout is carrying a bunch of bandages in her arms because she has been patching up the Whomping Willow after its little fight with Harry and Ron's car. So she comes in carrying all these bandages, and then Lockhart comes and announces to everyone that he's been showing Professor Sprout the correct way to treat the Whomping Willow, as if this woman hasn't had years upon years of experience with magical plants in her career as a herbology teacher. Oh wow, now he's trying to play it off. Like, he tells the kids he doesn't want anyone to think that he's saying that he's better than Professor Sprout. Bruh, that's exactly what you're doing. So anyway, thankfully, Professor Sprout cuts him off, and she tells the class that they'll be working in Greenhouse 3. But as they file into it, Lockhart pulls Harry aside. Then he tells him that he's been wanting a word with him. What the heck could that be? Oh my days. Lockhart asks Professor Sprout if it's okay if Harry misses just a couple of minutes of the lesson. And it's clear on Professor Sprout's face that she obviously does mind. But before she can say anything, Lockhart just acts like she said, "Oh no, I don't mind at all." Can't stand people like that who speak for you or project their own wants and desires onto you. Lockhart starts off by saying it was all my fault and that he could have kicked himself. when he heard. But just like me, Harry has no idea what he's talking about, so he just remains silent. Oh, he really does jump to ridiculous conclusions. Like, what the heck? Okay, so it becomes clear that he's talking about Harry and Ron flying the car to Hogwarts. But it seems like Lockhart is fully convinced that he's figured out why they did it. Do you know what this fool said? He thinks it's because it gave him some publicity. Like, he's for real doing some serious mental gymnastics to have reached that conclusion. Oh my goodness. Like, he literally thinks that because he got Harry onto the front page of the Daily Prophet before, when they met at the bookshop, Lockhart thinks that since then, Harry's been craving the limelight again. And he and Ron flew the car in order to get that. Like, seriously. Oh my days. So, when Harry tries to explain what actually happened, just like with Professor Sprout, Lockhart cuts Harry off and he's like, oh, don't worry, I understand. Like, could you be any more condescending and patronizing? He's actually talking about publicity like it's a drug. He's like, oh, it's natural to want more once you've had that first little taste. Oh my days. And he's for real trying to sound humble about it too. He's like, and I feel so bad for introducing you to that. I blame myself. It's bound to go to your head. Excuse me? Harry, as a 12-year-old boy, is more mature than you would ever be. So then Lockhart begins to lecture Harry about how he can't do stuff like flying cars just for the attention. He's trying to turn it into a moral. Like, was that his whole point? Bruh, when I was 12, I was just as much of a nobody as you are now. Like, literally, what was the purpose of saying that? There was none, was there? No point to it. So why say it? Oh wait, no, I know. Just to feed his own ego. Gosh, so finally Lockhart stops and Harry finally goes into the greenhouse with the rest of his class and starts his herbology lesson. But that is an adventure for next time. I'm sorry, I cannot take any more from Lockhart right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give the like button and the notification bell a little kiss. And subscribe to become a Starlet. Don't forget to follow me on Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram and Tumblr. And if you have read something that you want me to react to, let me know in the comments. Now, one final thing, guys. I finally have a Patreon where you can get a bunch of exclusive content from me that you will not find anywhere else. I can record personal little videos for you guys, some behind the scenes content, and also some more, let's say, grown-up content that isn't really allowed on YouTube. And you can also be in my videos. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye!